Welcome to A View to a Grill. I'm Johnny. Today I'm going to show you how to forward sear the perfect hamburger patty on the Weber kettle. Anytime I'm grilling, if I can, I like to create a repeatable process so that I know what my outcome is going to be. That's why I use two pieces of equipment that help ensure that all of my patties are a consistent size and weight. I like to use a patty mold, and this one I bought off of Etsy, but you can get patty molds right off of Amazon if you like. Using a hamburger patty mold ensures that all of my patties are going to be the same size. Using a kitchen scale is going to allow me to weigh the meat and make sure that all of my patties are the same weight. Now, when choosing my ground beef for the hamburger patty, I like to use an 80% of meat to 20% of fat ratio. Now let's go ahead and form our hamburger patties. Now, just because I do this a lot, I've come to know that when I buy a 3-pound package of hamburger meat, that's going to get me 7 patties to 6.7 ounces. I just feel like that is the perfect size of hamburger patty, and if I tried to get 8 patties out of this package, then to me it seems like those patties are just a little bit too small for how I like hamburgers. Now, I like to get all of my meat weighed up first before I use the patty mold. For this first patty, I'll do this in real time. Grab the meat, put it in the patty mold, and I'm not pressing the meat into the mold because I don't want to overpack the mold. I want a nice, loose hamburger patty. I'm actually tearing this meat apart as I go and then just pushing it into the corners of the mold. Once I have the hamburger patty in the mold and it's formed, I like to use the saran wrap, flip it over onto the palm of my hand, and put it back into the mold. Once it's back into the mold, I'll use the lid of the mold and just barely press down on the hamburger patty. A loosely formed hamburger patty is not going to puff up in the middle. Sometimes you see people saying put your thumbprint in the middle of a hamburger patty. If your patty is loosely formed, you won't need to have that weird looking thumbprint in the middle of your patty. And now you're done with your hamburger patty. But I want to show you how loosely packed this hamburger patty is. If I pick the patty up, it cannot support its own weight. It just falls apart. That's when you know your patty is perfect. If you were to pick up that patty by one side like I did and it holds together, then you've packed your patty way too tight. Now I'm done with forming all my patties, and take a look at them on the rack. You can see that they all have cracks. None of these patties are tightly formed, and for me, these are the perfect hamburger patties to grill. Now, once the patties are formed, I like to pre-salt them, dry brine them, whatever you call it. I'll pre-salt each one only on one side because I don't want to break them apart. And then once I have them all salted, I'll put them back in the refrigerator just to firm them back up a little. Now it's about 30 minutes before I'm going to cook these hamburgers, and it's time to set up the grill. I'll be using the 2-zone method today. And if you look inside my Weber, I actually have some leftover charcoal from my last cook. I'll just clean that up a little bit by moving it back and forth. And then once I have it cleaned, I'll spread it out evenly on the bottom grate. Now, to ensure efficient airflow, I'm going to use the sweep of my Weber kettle and get the ash into the ash pan. A clean grill helps ensure whatever protein it is that you're cooking gives it a less chance of it sticking to the grill. Now, I've also grown to where I like to use CitraSafe. CitraSafe, I can clean the grill while it's cool. I'll get some of that sprayed on. I'll give that about a minute to sit there, and then I'll use the pad that comes with the kit to clean off the grill. Once I have the grill scrubbed down, I'll just use one of these white cloths and wipe all the excess moisture off the grill. And take a look at the white cloth. It's dirty. Nobody wants to eat that. I'll also just spray a light coating of canola oil right onto the grill grates. Now let me get the grill grates off so I can see how much charcoal I actually have in the kettle, because I'm going to make a judgment here. I'm going to look and see how much charcoal is in the kettle to know how full to fill up the chimney starter. And now it's time to start the fire. Today I'm using Golden's cast iron lump charcoal. And then judging by how much charcoal was left in the Weber kettle, I think I'll fill up this charcoal around 3/4 full. I'll be using the Superior brand of fire cups. These are my favorite brand at the time, and it's a bonus, I think, that they were made in the USA. Now today is windy, so I put the fire cup on a little chunk of wood just to get it up higher in the chimney starter and out of the wind. Once I see a little bit of ashing over in the chimney starter, then that is my cue to know that the fire is ready. Now you may ask, Johnny, aren't you supposed to wait until it's completely ashed over? And a lot of times I would say absolutely. As a matter of fact, I do that sometimes. But in this case, I'm going to let all the charcoal ash over in the Weber kettle because I'm going to preheat my Weber kettle for about 5 minutes. And that time is going to allow us for all the charcoal to ash over. Now we'll just pour the lit charcoal right into our hot zone of the Weber kettle. And I'm also going to spread that charcoal around just a little bit for even heat distribution. And now I'll get the grates in and the lid closed, and we're going to let this go for about 5 minutes. I'll make sure that my top vent is wide open. And then the bottom vent, I'm going to move that to the third oval from the left. Now it's time to season our hamburger patties. I'm just going to be using my own blend of SPG plus onion powder and with a little bit of paprika. I'll have all of the exact measurements in the description below. Whenever you season your hamburger patties, you want a nice even coating from edge to edge. And then once you've finished seasoning one side, turn them all over and season the other side, ensuring even coverage. Now that all of our patties are seasoned, it's time to get our hamburger patties on the grill. When you're putting your patties down, the most important thing would be not to crowd your grill. So we're going to do these in batches. I'll start off with 4 hamburger patties. I'll get the lid closed and set a timer for 1:30 seconds. Now 1:30 seconds has gone by. I'm going to open the lid and give all of our patties a 1/4 turn. And this is the forward sear part of our cook. We'll get the lid closed and set another timer for 1:30 seconds. 1:30 seconds have gone by, and now it's time to flip our hamburger patties. Let's set another timer for 1:30 seconds. Once 1:30 seconds has gone by, open the lid and give all of your patties a 1/4 turn. Set another timer for 1:30 seconds. And then once 1:30 seconds has passed, we're going to go ahead and move these patties to the indirect side of the grill. Now I had one patty break apart on me, but that's okay. Get it over to the indirect side. And also at this time, if you like your patties to be rare, you're going to want to cheese these right now. I like my patties medium well going into well, so it's nowhere near time for me to cheese the patties the way I like them. Now we have our second batch of patties on, and we're going to give them the same treatment. We're going to set a timer for 1:30 seconds. After 1:30 seconds, we'll get the lid open and give our patties a 1/4 turn. We'll close the lid and set another timer for 1:30 seconds. Now, after 1:30 seconds, we'll go ahead and flip our hamburger patties. Now at this time, if you like your patties to be medium rare, then it's time to cheese those patties that you have sitting on the cool side of the grill. We'll set another timer for 1:30 seconds. And once that's up, we're going to give these patties a 1/4 turn. Now we'll go ahead and set another timer for 1:30 seconds. And then once your 1:30 seconds is up, we're going to move these patties from the hot side of the grill to the cool side of the grill. So let's look at some visual cues so that we can just tell how far along on these patties we are. Now let's take a look at the first batch of patties. If you look here, you can see that dark red pool of meat juices. That's telling me that we're at about medium going into medium well. I'm going to give these patties another 1:30 seconds before I cheese them. If you like your patties done at a medium to medium well, then you would cheese them now. Now, don't forget about that broken patty. I'm going to show you how to fix that. We'll get the lid closed, and a minute and 30 seconds later, it's time to cheese our hamburgers. We're going to cheese that broken patty first, and cheese is actually a good glue to hold it together. We'll get the rest of those cheesed up, and remember, we're only cheesing the first batch of hamburgers. Now, to give the cheese enough time to melt, I'm going to close the lid and set a timer for a minute and 30 seconds. And if you were wondering how hot my Weber kettle is, well, take a look. It's about 530 degrees in the kettle. A minute and 30 have gone by, and now our cheese is melted, and it's time to get that first batch off the grill. And just to see how far along we are for that second batch, we're going to check some visual cues for doneness. Taking a look at this batch of burgers, you can see that the juices are still cloudy, and right there is some dark juices seeping out the patty. That tells me these, for my taste, need to go a little longer. So I'll close the lid and set another timer for a minute and 30 seconds. Now, a minute and 30 seconds later, these patties are pretty good. Most of the juices that are coming out are clear with this little splash of color right at the end. And for me, those are perfectly done forward seared hamburger patties. Now, let me show you that even though these patties are going from medium well into well, that they're still juicy patties. I'll just barely touch the patty that we took off, and look at all those juices coming out. Juicy patties equal happy eaters. Perfectly done forward seared patties. And check out the hamburger I made with that. Simple, tasty, delicious. And if you look at a cross section from my bite, you can see that it's still lightly pink inside the patty. Now, if you haven't already subscribed to my channel, it's time to do so right now. Thank you for watching A View to a Grill. I'll see you guys next time. Take care, y'all.